DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. We are here at Q&A number 76. This is every week here on this channel. I go through the comments from the previous week's Q&A and I respond to them live on video. That video becomes next week's Q&A, so I'm responding to questions from Q&A number 75. That'll become this video which you're watching now, Q&A 76. If you have a question you want answered for Q&A 77, you leave it in the comments of this video, and if it's a good, worthwhile question, I will address it in next week's Q&A. First thing I gotta mention, TBT, the $1 million basketball tournament. I am playing in it. I have my own team. I'm the GM and the player, Michael Jordan. I play for the team I own. Team WOYG, Philadelphia, July 17th, 18th, 19th, Philadelphia University. You can get tickets on the website. You can vote for our team and support us through the 22nd of June, which is this Monday, at DreAllDay.com/TBT. So go there, vote for us, support the team. The higher seed we get, the shorter road we have towards that $1 million prize. And on top of that, $50,000 of that prize money goes to the fans, not to the players, but to the fans, which means y'all. So if you're a supporter, you're gonna get a piece of that money, but you gotta sign up and be a supporter to get a piece of that money. Y'all got that? So let's get right into the questions without any further ado. First question is from Mario. He says, Dre, what do you think about working out on soft sand? For example, doing sprints, defensive slides. Do you think this is a good way to improve explosiveness and quickness and overall defense? Or is it better to do it on a normal gym floor or on the playground? Players ask me questions like this all the time. Like, do I think it's a better idea to practice this way or that way, or the third way or the fourth way or the fifth way or the sixth way? My answer to that question, doesn't even matter what they're talking about, is this. Go do the things you're talking about doing, and then you'll have an answer to the question. Because two different people could do the exact same workout in the exact same location, exact same circumstances. One person will say, this is great, I'm gonna do this all the time. Another person say, this is terrible, it didn't help me at all, it made me worse. So you gotta go do it and find out what's better for you. It's not for me to say what's gonna work for you. Mario, so all the stuff you talking about doing, why don't you stop talking about it and go do it, and then you'll have an answer to your question. I mean, you're an athlete, right? So why talk about working out when you just go work out, and then you'll know what works. Next question, Elite Tomahawk says, Dre, I shoot the ball with both hands under the ball and beside each other. Is that wrong, even though I still get lots of points? There's nothing wrong with making points in basketball. In basketball, there's only 3 objectives on offense: put the ball in the basket. That's why it's called basketball. On defense, stop the other guy from putting the ball in the basket. And the overall objective of the game is to have more points at the end of the game than the other person. So if you are obtaining those objectives, then there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. Goliath says, Dre, how can I further develop my form of my jump shot, and what can I do to help that? And what is my take on plyometrics and how they work? Well, first of all, plyometrics and how they work, well, it depends on what you're doing. Do you have a program, or are you just doing random plyometrics? So that question is too vague for me to say my opinion on it. Plyometrics can work if done properly, and they can hurt you if they're done the wrong way. So you need to know what you're doing. You probably need some guidance from somebody who knows what they're doing. Since you're asking, you probably don't know what you're doing, so you should probably follow a guide from someone who does. And if you're looking for a good plyometric program for overall basketball ability, the best one is Jump Manual. You can get that at DreAllDay.com/jump, JUMP. DreAllDay.com/jump. All the information, all the questions you will have about it is all on that link. So just click on it and get the information. As far as his question was, how can I further develop my form or my jump shot? That doesn't make sense. How do you further develop a form? A form is not something that can be measured. Like, a form doesn't have a statistical number. Like, all right, his form is a 5 or his form is a 37. What do you mean by further develop your form? Figure out how you want to shoot and start shooting like that. That's how you further develop it. Whatever it is that you mean by that. The way that you're wording that doesn't really make sense, though. Next question, Ike says, all right, he was adding more to a question he had asked previously, but I don't see where that previous question is, so I can't even address what he's saying. UL Dulude says, Dre, if I shoot 500 to 600 made shots a day with perfect form, will I have a deadly jump shot? Well, you know the answer to, my answer to that is go shoot 500, 600 jump shots a day, and then you'll know whether you have a deadly jump shot or not, because deadly, it's one of those relative terms. So I could say my jump shot is deadly if I make 1 out of 10, where you might think deadly means 9 out of 10. So you decide what deadly means, and then you keep shooting until you get to that point. Kari says, I play for my school team. We're in a league where all high schools from my city play against each other. So this season we were last place. We lost all 11 games. He says his teammates don't give a shit about the team. We had 3 walkovers. We had to give 3 walkovers in the season. I don't even know what that means, but I guess it's a bad thing the way he says it. He says, I'm the only guy who comes to training. I'm the only guy who's there every game, and I'm really disappointed. What can I do to motivate my teammates to appear at the games and the trainings? Kerry, you can't do anything. The only thing you can do is set an example with yourself, with what you do. It's not about them. You can't force other people to care. Other people are going to care if they want to care, and if they don't, ain't nothing you can do about that. The only person you can control, Kerry, is yourself. And if you really don't like that team and they're as terrible as you say they are, why do you still play with them? Go play with somebody else if they're that terrible. And if you don't have another choice, then stop complaining about them and focus on you. Next, Tay Sheen says, can you explain what you mean when you say a basketball player has talent? What makes them different from other players? That's kind of another one of those vague questions. Y'all got to get better in describing what you mean when you're asking me these questions. When I say a basketball player has talent, it means they have some natural gift for doing something that they didn't necessarily have to practice. That's what I mean by that. What makes them different from other players? I never said that makes them different from anybody. It depends on who you're talking about, what skill we're talking about, and what players we're comparing. So if you could give me some specifics, then I can answer. Maybe. Next question is Finn. It says, after summer, I'll be a sophomore. I'm going to a better high school that has a good team. Because my previous school was 3-21. They didn't have a good ranking nationally. Nobody gets noticed. And it takes forever to get out of that hole. So the high school he's going to, their point guard just signed to go to college. I want to take his spot, but there's another guard on the team before me. He's going to be a sophomore also. But I want to know, how can I get that starting spot within 2.5 months? By working on your fucking game and showing that you deserve it. That's how you get the starting spot. Ain't no magic words or tricks that's going to get you the spot. Either you can play and you deserve the spot, or you can't play and you don't deserve the spot. So nothing I say is going to change that. Either you got the game or you don't. Nicholas NG says, let's hypothetically say that you're a great player, but in competitions you lose because your teammates aren't good enough, because they turn the ball over, don't play defense, etc. So even if you're good but your teammates are bums, does that mean that it is the great player's fault for not being good enough or not being on the right team? Can one great player make a great impact on an otherwise mediocre team? Well, of course. I mean, we just saw the NBA Finals, right? What did LeBron James do? You take LeBron off that team. Actually, good you asked that question, because if you look at the Andre Iguodala won MVP of the finals, which actually I don't actually agree with. I understand there's a bias towards the team that won. But if you look at it, if you take Andre Iguodala off the Warriors and LeBron James off the Cavs, which team is going to suffer a worse blow from losing that guy? Clearly the Cavs. You take Iguodala off Golden State, LeBron off the Cavs, that's a sweep. It's not even one of those 4 games would even be close, because the Cavs don't have not one guy who can hurt Golden State by himself. Nobody. So how Iguodala was MVP, he definitely wasn't the most valuable player in the series. The most valuable player in the series was clearly LeBron James. He was the most valuable player of the whole playoffs. You take him off the Cavs, with the injuries that they had, the Cavs are not even a playoff team. The Golden State Warriors can still make the finals without Iguodala. They would have swept the Cavs without Iguodala. Well, and taking LeBron off the Cavs also. Take LeBron off the Cavs, they're not even a playoff team. They in a lottery. So anyway, his answer to your question, yes, one great player can of course make an impact. Depends on how great that player is relative to his teammates. So if that one player is on a situation where his teammates aren't that good, well, guess what? It's not your fault that they're not good, but it is your responsibility to help the team win. Your responsibility is to win games. It's not your fault that everybody's not at your level, but you are responsible for winning, because that's the only object of the game. The ultimate object of the game is to win the game. Next, Ethan Tucker says, how can I figure out what my dominant finger is? I don't even know what the hell that is. Who cares? Next, Tay PT Mac says, is it better to have a written set plan of your daily workouts before you go to the gym, or could you just do any drills you feel like when you get there? What do you personally do? Actually, I don't do either of those. I don't write down a set plan of what I can do, but I know in my mind what I'm going to do before I work out. So it's actually neither A nor B. And what's better, quote unquote, is just another one of those relative questions that players ask all the time. I can't tell you what's better for you. You figure out what's better for you. Why don't you try both ways, see what works for you, whichever one gets you the better result, that's the better one. So all the stuff that you're asking me, which one is better between these two, do all of them, and then you'll know which one is better. So instead of talking about it and thinking about it and researching it and asking everybody else, go do it, take action, go do it, and then you'll know. Next, Lightning Force says, Dre, did academics play a big role in your career? Well, academics don't have anything to do with a basketball career, so the answer to that question is no. DeMarcus says, Dre, I'm sorry if this is asked a lot, but do you have any hoop handbooks that covers getting double teamed? If not, do you have mental handbooks about that? I'm always working on my game, but I need to get my confidence right. Well, DeMarcus, getting double teamed doesn't have anything to do with your confidence. It has to do with your basketball IQ. If you have two people on you, that means that otherwise, outside of the two people that are guarding you, there are four people on your team, and there are three people on the other team. So if you pass the ball, somebody's going to be open. So if you're getting double teamed, you don't need a hoop handbook to figure out what to do. What you need to do is pass. Next, Harris Kaus says, I'm 18. I haven't lifted any weights my whole life because I was always being told the exercises where you lift over your shoulders could stunt your growth. So I've just done 2 or 3 exercises like curls and bench press because I can't afford to stunt my growth because I'm only 5'11". What should I do? Well, first of all, don't take advice from people who don't have what you want, because then you're asking yourself to be like them. You're asking the universe to make you like them. So the people who told you that, I can guarantee you they don't lift weights, because if they did, they would know better than tell you something that doesn't make sense. Second of all, you should have been smarter than to listen to those people without getting information for yourself. Don't take information that comes out of other people's mouths unless you want to get the exact same results that person has, even me. So if you hear me say something and you don't want the exact results that I got, or you're not sure, I know what I'm talking about, go get the information for yourself. And you can take a second opinion on any piece of information anyone gives you. I don't care if it's a teacher, parent, basketball player, somebody on the cover of a magazine, some dude on TV. Get the information from the closest source to the information as you can, not just because somebody said it or because they scored this many points or they got this status or whatever. Get information yourself. So that, first of all, Harris, is incorrect. No, lifting weights over your shoulders does not stunt your growth. That's stupid. I never even heard of that. And unless you hear from a doctor, someone who's they have a clinical degree or some type of certification that says they know exactly what happens in the human body when it comes to lifting weights, your physiology, then you shouldn't take that person's advice. That's just common sense. And if you didn't know it now, I just gave you some new common sense for you and everybody else watching this video. So he said, what should he do? Well, that's what you should do. Start thinking for yourself. Stop taking people's information. Mr. Underdog says, when did you start having the positive attitude and mentality that you have now? By the way, I like that you're brutally honest with the questions you answer. Well, there isn't any one day, Mr. Underdog. It's not like I woke up one day and said, you know what? I'm going to have a positive attitude from now on. It's kind of like something that you just developed. So there was no one day. There wasn't no one person. There wasn't any one book. It's just things that I learned along the way. People I'm around, books that I read, stuff that I listen to, the things that I decide to take in, the things that I decide to discard. Because we all hear and see a lot of things every single day. It's just the things we choose to focus on that become part of us. Because both of us, me and you, got the exact same thing happen to us, but I could take certain things from it. I could take these 3 things from it that make me feel great, and you could take these 3 things from it that make you feel terrible about the exact same situation. So it's just about what you choose to focus on. Next question, Mateo Carey says, do you think that an hour of lifting, 2 to 3 hours, that don't make no sense, but anyway, 2 to 3 hours, okay, so either an hour of lifting, comma, there's no comma there, should have been a comma, 2 to 3 hours of practicing shooting and post moves and such, and then playing games at the gym for 6 hours is too much in one day. People keep telling me it's too much, but I don't feel like it is. Well, if you don't feel like it's too much, then it isn't. Why are you asking me? It's not about my opinion. I'm not the one out there doing it. You're the one doing it. So if you feel like it's not too much, then it isn't. Just like I said to the previous answer, it doesn't matter what other people say. What do you say? Think for yourself. Daniel Forrest says, what's up, Dre? Do you listen to Jalen Rose's podcast on Grantland? He probably is one of my favorite people to listen to because his NBA knowledge and insider info. He's a great guy. I just graduated first in his class at his charter school in Detroit, too. Well, congratulations to you, Daniel. I did hear about Jalen's charter school having his first graduating class, so congrats to you and everybody else at JRLA. As far as his podcast, I have listened to it before, but I don't listen to it religiously. I don't listen to every episode. I listen to it sometimes, but not all the times. Next, Drew Andrews says, do you think you would be able to successfully coach an NBA team? Well, it depends on how good that team is. A talented enough team, anybody could coach them. Yeah, I could coach the Golden State Warriors. We probably wouldn't win the championship, but maybe we would. We'd be up there just because they got so much talent. They have such a good team. They're just so good as a team, even a mediocre coach would have some success, quote unquote success with that team. But I'm not a coach, so I wouldn't even put myself in a position to be successfully coaching anybody. Next. Jonathan Hang, what age were you when you first dunked? Age 16. How tall was I? I don't know. People always, that's usually the follow-up question, so I don't know. Q's Town Kick says, Dre, I'm 5'8", and I dunk a water bottle. He takes a water bottle and dunks it, he says. Do I have any tips on getting his first dunk with a ball? Yes. Get the jump manual, dreallday.com/jump. Go through the entire 12-week program. Is guaranteed to add at least 10 inches to your vertical or your money back. Next question. Andrew Smith says, which books or authors have influenced you the most? Go to my website, dreallday.com. Go to the guides and tips section and read the link that says recommended reading list. And then you'll see the books that I recommend to players who are looking for things to read. You can also look at the link on there that says books that I read, and you'll see a list of all the books that I've decided to review on my website. Jonathan says, are there any tips for really skinny basketball players? I'm really tall, but I get pushed around a lot. Well, it depends on what that really skinny player wants to do, because there are players who are skinny who are damn good. They're not asking for tips. So what is it that this really skinny basketball player wants to achieve? So that's the question that, Jonathan, that you got to go find whoever that skinny player is. I guess you're talking about yourself. What is it that you want? Just because you're skinny doesn't mean you need tips. And just because you're big and strong doesn't mean you need tips. Just because you're fat doesn't mean you don't need tips. So just being a size doesn't mean you need tips. What is it that you want to know? What is it you want to achieve? Then I can give you some advice on how to do that. Ball is my life. He says, should I practice basketball drills like shooting and driving on different days of the week? Because I don't have time to practice like that. I had a jump manual. I want to practice 5 days and do the jump manual Saturday and Sunday. The jump manual says to do it when I read it. I hate practicing for too many hours. That's what I do for hours in a day. Well, first of all, you need to get better at putting together grammatically correct sentences, because I don't really understand what it is you're asking me. So why don't you repost the question and use proper punctuation so I can figure out what it is you want, and be a little bit more concise. You give me a lot of information that I don't need. Next question. Jared P says, Dre, I'm going to be a sophomore in high school next year. I'm a guard. I'm a naturally pretty good shooter, and I have a really good developed jump shot, because that's what I work on the most. My coach told me that I was a good shooter, but he doesn't need shooting because he already has enough shooters. How do I think he should go about earning playing time when his main asset isn't necessary, based on the coach's response? Should he just work to be the best shooter and take their spot, or make ball handling defense his best skills? Well, Jared, you shouldn't be only good at one thing. So if shooting is your best skill, that's the thing you work on the most, I wouldn't say that you should stop being good at shooting, but you can become good at other things. Since you were talking to the coach and he said he doesn't need shooting, your response to that should be, okay, coach, what do you need me to do that will make me a valuable player on this team that will get me playing time? Because my goal is to get playing time, coach. What is it that I need to do to get playing time? And whatever he says, you do that. Next, KCI says, won't be the next time you play overseas, and thanks, I'm getting better off your videos. Well, we'll see. And I'm glad to hear that you're getting better off my videos. That's my aim, that some players are improving from watching this stuff. Next question. Just play games. It says, I'm 20, I'm 5'11", 178 pounds. Last summer I set a goal of being able to dunk. He lost 45 pounds. Now he's at the point where he can grab the rim easily. He's trying hard to get his body fat percentage down, but he still has a little bit of fat on his stomach and back. And he asks, is the jump man going to get him dunking guaranteed? How long is the program? It's something he's really pushing for, and he wants to hopefully get it done by the end of the month. He's always been scared that leg workouts would decrease his vertical, so he always skips leg day at the gym. Well, legs have muscles in them, just play games. So if you want the muscles in your legs to work better, then you probably need to work them out somehow, some way. As far as the jump manual, dreallday.com/jump. I will put an annotation up here somewhere, and maybe in the video description, for the jump manual, so you can go take a look at it for yourself. All the questions you have about it are answered on that page. So go there and read it if you want the information, and then get it and then do the work. Next question. Tom Martin says, Dre, I'm starting basketball at 16 in Australia. I'm determined to put in the work, but do you think there's much chance of me playing college, overseas, D-League, or NBA? And if so, what plan process would I have to take? So it's an interesting question. He says, I'm determined to put in the work, but do I think there's a chance of him making it to any of these places? All right, so Tom, first of all, your problem has nothing to do with the NBA, D-League, overseas, college, being 16, or being from Australia. None of those are your problem. Your problem is you. Because you just said that you were determined to put in the work. Then the next thing you said is basically you announced that you're doubting yourself. Which one is it? Do you doubt yourself and you feel like it's not worth it putting in the work, or are you determined to put in the work? Pick one. You can't do both at the exact same time. You're basically fighting against yourself, running on a treadmill, getting nowhere. So figure out what it is that you want. And once you figure out whether you doubt yourself or you believe in yourself and you're determined, then come back to me and ask me a better question. Because the questions you're giving yourself right now, the information that you're voicing right now out of your own mouth, are canceling each other out. So you got to figure out what you want first before anybody can help you. Next, TJ's World says, what's the most impressive thing you've done in a basketball game? Win the game. That's the most impressive thing you could do in a game, is win. Unmastered Skills says, Dre, when I'm playing with my friends or practicing by myself, I make a lot of shots, but in games or against strangers, I get hesitant and don't play aggressive. Any help? Question mark. Also, my ball handling is suspect. What do I recommend him to do in order to become a great ball handler over the summer? All right, to answer that second question, you need to go to hoophandbook.com, choose the program that works best for you. They're all described in detail, every single one. So find the one that works best for you and get to work. As far as, he didn't say what size he is. If you want to work on ball handling, I say to LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Allen Iverson, Stephen Curry, Chris Paul. Pick one of those 5 30-day signature workout programs. And then he says he doesn't play aggressive around strangers. I just put out a video earlier this week about how to find your killer instinct, get into your right zone mentally. I made several videos on that. Go to my channel, look back, find that video, watch it, and watch it again until you understand it. Next, Christian Tevis says, do you think people should move their shot pocket higher to where the ball is above their head? Well, Christian, I don't really give a damn what other people do. And at the end of the day at basketball, again, there's only 3 objectives. Score on offense, stop the other team from scoring on defense, and have more points at the end of the game. So if you're achieving those, then I wouldn't tell anybody they need to do anything. You do what you want to do, they get you those 3 results. Josh Peralta says, Dre, I recently watched a couple videos on confidence in games. Anyway, I was terrible in games all the time. I trained this pregame thing called the black box belief. You probably never heard of it, but I felt like it worked. It sounds cheesy and weird, but I was wondering if I have any superstitions that I think help me. Thanks and great work. By the way, LeBron is not the best player in the world, in his opinion, of course. Okay, well, LeBron is the best player in the world. I think he just proved that in the NBA Finals, but this video is not about that. Anyway, he said, do I have any superstitions that I think help me? No, I'm not a superstitious person. I believe in intelligence. Intelligence and finding what works and then repeating the things that work and eliminating the things that don't work. That's not superstition, that's just being smart. Next, death something. Dre, recently I got some knee weakness when I was dunking. It's not painful, the doctor said it's not serious, and I can still jump as high as usual, but my knees don't feel as strong as they did before. Have I ever gotten knee weakness like this, and any tips to getting rid of knee weakness? No, I've never heard of knee weakness. I didn't know that was a disease. So, no, it's nothing I can tell you about knee weakness. Again, I've never even heard that phrase before, so maybe you should go see a different doctor and get a second opinion. Don't get your information for your knees. When it comes to your knee, the health of your knees or any other part of your body, don't get your information from YouTube. Not even from the guy making the video, or definitely not from the people commenting on the videos. You'll get it from a certified physician. Next, D-Rod says, we know about your game on the court, but what is your game when it comes to females? Well, D-Rod, if you're a female and you're attractive and I'm interested in you, then you'll find out. But if you're not all 3 of those things, then that question doesn't even apply to you because you don't need to know. Next, Raptors Express says, who do you think is better at scoring? Kevin Durant, Carmelo Anthony, or James Harden? I have to say Kevin Durant. Next, AAX Gunner says, what type of player is more valuable to a team? A great scorer or a player who isn't a great scorer but can set up teams with ease? Well, it depends on who is on the rest of the team and what that team needs. Value to a team is based on giving the team what the team needs, not just what one person can do, but what the team needs and how you're able to fill that gap. That's all the questions for this week, everybody. Thank you for coming through with the questions. If y'all want to get specific answers, you got to ask me a specific question. All these relative terms y'all throwing in there, I'm not going to be able to give you the answer you want because you're asking me something that only is relative to you. It doesn't make sense for everybody else, and it doesn't make sense for me. It's only relative to you because you're saying it. So you want a specific answer, ask a better question. Think about the wording of your questions when you're asking them. That's it for this week, Q&A number 76. Any of you got a question, leave it down in the comments of this video. Do not respond to anybody else's question. I'm going to have to delete you off this channel. Do not post more than one question. I'm only going to answer the first one and ignore the rest. Work on your fucking game. DreAllDay.com. Thanks for checking out this video. Make sure you follow all my top content up here. Follow me on all your favorite social networks right over here. And make sure you are subscribed to catch all the new content I put on this channel every single day.